This chess position is one of the most common you'll encounter. e4 e5 and white's knight to f3 develops while attacking the pawn on e5. While many players opt for knight to c6, I stumbled upon something astonishing today. Another move has been played an astounding 8.5 million times, around 8,485,000 to be precise. It's the move f6. At first glance, it might seem logical as it defends the pawn, but in reality, it's a terrible move. What intrigued me further was that most white players struggled to capitalize on black's mistake, leaving them unsure how to punish such a blunder. Out of those 8.5 million games, only approximately 720,000 players found the correct response. If you crunch the numbers, that's less than 10% of players discovering the right move. Inspired by this, I decided to create a brief video to demonstrate the correct course of action when faced with the move f6. When encountering an unusual move, I tend to pause and question its deviation from the norm. I always find it useful to ask a straightforward question: if there were a drawback to this move, what might it be? In this scenario, the immediate answer becomes apparent. It exposes the king along a vulnerable diagonal. This vulnerability sets it apart from other potential moves. Next, I combine this insight with the inquiry: can I capitalize on this weakness? A notable observation emerges: my queen is positioned on the board and could potentially reach h5, were it not for the presence of my knight. Following this line of reasoning, the move knight takes e5 comes to mind. Strangely, this move isn't frequently played, indicating that many players overlook this concept. Nevertheless, it stands as the optimal move, offering a way to exact a cost for the opponent's suboptimal move. Upon their capture of my knight, as previously noted, my queen can seize the opportunity to advance to h5, delivering a check to black's king. At this juncture, black's available moves are limited to just two options. They can either choose to play g6 to obstruct the check, or they may move their king upward. Both alternatives, however, place black in an unfavorable position. If black chooses to respond with g6, the strategic move is to capture the pawn. This move creates a strategic fork, forcing black to find a way out of the check. Let's assume black plays queen to e7 to evade the check. Subsequently, we seize the opportunity to capture the rook tucked away in the corner. While we indeed lose our knight in the process, the trade-off is well worth it. We gain a rook and secure both the f-pawn and the e-pawn. In the midst of this exchange, black may attempt a check, but our focus remains unwavering. A simple maneuver allows our king to sidestep the threat, positioning us in a comfortable stance. Moreover, we could potentially exploit this open file to pin black's queen in future moves if the opportunity arises. For black, the current challenge lies in addressing their knight's predicament. Assuming they opt for a move like knight to f7, we can continue our advantageous play by even attacking the queen itself. While a check does occur, its impact is minimal, as we promptly counter by blocking it. This positions us solidly ahead in the game, putting black at a significant disadvantage. Let's delve into the alternative scenario that black might consider. Instead of g6, black could choose to advance their king to e7, a move that on the surface appears to serve as a means of moving the king forward while obstructing the bishop. This choice, however, sets a problematic tone for black's position from the very start. To counter this, our logical move becomes queen takes e5, compelling black's king to retreat to f7, the only viable option left. Here, we continue our offensive strategy by initiating a powerful attacking move. If you'd like to pause for a moment and contemplate, the optimal choice at this juncture is bishop to c4, constituting both a developmental move and a formidable threat against black's king. In response, black faces two possible moves. They could immediately attempt to escape with their king, which is actually the more common choice. In this case, our response involves sliding our queen over to f5, leading to a critical situation where black's king is running out of escape routes. Upon black's king reaching h6, it becomes opportune to play h4, solidifying control over an important square. This move strategically limits black's options, particularly their attempt to block with a pawn. As black's predicament deepens, the options available to them dwindle. Should they move their knight to challenge our queen, the outcome is swift and definitive. Checkmate is achieved immediately. This sequence of moves underscores the strategic superiority of our position, ultimately placing black in an untenable situation. Suppose black ups for bishop e7, aiming to reinforce their defenses. In response, a simple pawn push accomplishes the check. When black responds with g5, capturing the pawn ensues, releasing our rook for action. Queen to f7, checkmate swiftly follows suit. It's worth acknowledging that while various moves exist for black, the imminent checkmate remains a constant threat. The strategic simplicity of this game is evident, placing the pawn here, the subsequent pawn push, dismantling black's pieces, and ultimately leading to checkmate. Yet, revisiting this position introduces a degree of complexity when black selects the move d5. Although capturing the pawn is a tempting option, it is imperative to recognize that this move grants black's bishop newfound freedom. In response, we adapt our strategy while maintaining aggression, promptly deploying the move h4. This particular move, h4, serves as a vital element to keep in your strategic arsenal, especially when the black king relocates to g6. Continuing, black is presented with two primary options to counter our pawn advancement, both aimed at impeding our strategy. For instance, if black chooses the move knight to c6, the sequence unfolds: h5 check, prompting the king to d4, further check with g5, capturing the pawn en passant, a pivotal concept, and culminating in check once again. This sequence solidifies our advantageous position, building on the momentum created by our pawn advances and tactical execution. The impending checkmate, depicted in the queen h5 to king g7 and queen f7 sequence, showcases the potential for an overwhelming victory. Indeed, the pivotal threat that emerges from the h4 move requires black's careful consideration, leading them to decide between h5 or h6 as their options. When black responds with h5, a cunning maneuver often overlooked comes into play: bishop takes b7. While this move might appear audacious at first glance, its subtlety conceals a powerful concept. The purpose is twofold: to target black's rook, and, intriguingly, to lure black's bishop into capturing our bishop. Should the trade occur, the f5 square's defense, hitherto maintained by black's bishop, collapses, leaving black's position vulnerable. Subsequent moves capitalize on this advantage, with queen to f5 forcing the black king to retreat to h6. Pushing our pawn forward liberates our bishop, and after g5, we swoop down to f7, meticulously limiting black's escape routes. Even if black attempts to bolster their defenses with bishop to e7, the relentless assault continues. Our counter involves a capture that triggers a series of events culminating in an inescapable checkmate. Should black choose h6 over h5, the tactical brilliance of bishop takes b7 resurfaces, offering a path to seizing control. In either scenario, black's options narrow, with their maneuvers governed by the impending threat of checkmate. To counter this, black might introduce the move bishop to d6, aiming to dislodge our queen and potentially gaining an advantageous position. Our response, queen to a5, safeguards our tactical options, poised to transition into a checkmate should black take our bishop. In essence, this intricate sequence underscores the potency of each move's consequences, while highlighting the strategic interplay that can decisively shape the course of a chess game. Now, it's time for a puzzle. In the given position, it's white's turn, and you need to find the best move for white. Share your answers in the comments, and let's see how many of you can solve it correctly. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with future videos. Take a moment to check out the other videos appearing on your screen right now. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care and peace.